friends, welcome back to my advent calendar countdown of favourite albums of 2024, and we sort of just gone over the halfway stage, so here we are, day 13 and my number 12, and today it is Fat White Family and their album Forgiveness Is Yours. One of those bands that I sort of think of as being slightly eccentric, really interesting, not something for everyone, to be fair, but I enjoy them. This album came out in April, so quite early in the year, and this is what I said about it in my monthly roundup back then. And this is a band called Fat White Family, and I hear you say, who? And this is their album, Forgiveness Is Yours. I don't know if you can see that because it's sort of embossed on there. And Fat White Family, this is their fourth studio album. They're a six-piece from London. I came across them on their previous album to this, which came out in 2019, and it's called Surf's Up. So it's obviously a tongue-in-cheek play on the Beach Boys album, but surf on their one was spelled S-E-R-F-S, i.e. peasants. I really enjoyed that. It was a real grow. I sort of heard it, streamed it a couple of times, and then went out and bought it on vinyl, and it was my album of the year pretty well. I mean, certainly top 5. Really enjoyed it. Very unusual. Really hard to to pin down a genre for them. And this is even more mixed. It's quite different in a lot of ways. There are some similarities, but it's also quite different. It's one you really have to listen to a good few times. It's not an immediate one. It's a definite grower. I would say that probably when I get to the end of the year, that I'd find that out of all these really fine albums in April, this is probably the one I will have listened to most and gone back to most, and I've no doubt will be quite high in my year end. It's really quite complex, very, very varied, and quite eccentric in parts. So, when you look at the first two, they're not necessarily typical of what follows, but it opens up with a sort of like a 1.5 minute poem narration with a slight musical background, which really reminds me, it's sort of reminiscent, and this will only make sense to Brits of my generation, I'm sure, but it reminds me a little bit of Ivor Cutler, if you remember those, but without his impenetrable Scottish accent. There's a very slight Scottish twang to it, but it's spoken word, but it's a poem narration. It's not sort of like the current trendy spoken word. And then that flows into the second track, which is quite gentle, and it's called John Lennon, and it's quite whimsical as well, I should say. And lots of it isn't whimsical. And there's I'm pulling out some of the real differences here. So none of these are necessarily typical of the whole. The front man, let me look at this, his name. The front man is called Lias Saudi. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's like Saudi Arabia with an O in the middle. And his brother Nathan, is the keyboardist. Now, they were born in Southampton to an English mother and an Algerian father, but sort of grew up in Scotland and Northern Ireland, apparently, before going to London. The sixth track, Today You Become a Man, is really quite disturbing. And to listen to it, it appears to be an autobiographical of one of the brothers recounting of an experience by a 5-year-old boy, one of them, being taken to Algeria by the father and having a ritual circumcision performed on them. Now, it's not explicit, but it's sort of clear what they're talking about, and it is a narration. It's a spoken word, really quite a fast-paced, gushing narration of this, and you know, and again, it is really gripping. You just sort of, it pulls you into it, and you're thinking, God. So I think this is quite an amazing record. And the opening track was called "The Archivist." That's the poem. It is this one. Put it there. It is on clear vinyl. It's just a single LP, 11 tracks, and I would say of all the albums I've got here, if you want to be challenged, this is the one to try. It's one you have to listen to a few times and get into. It is an amazing album. So there you go. That's my number 12, day 13, and it was the A Fat White Family. So come back tomorrow. I'm doing a bit of a run here, so I'm going to do tomorrow's now as well and post it in a couple of days' time. Give myself a break. So thanks for watching. Cheers.